Y&R Spoilers reveal that Jack Abbott and Diane Jenkins Abbott prepare for a big night together. Their moods are mixed with curiosity and caution when they receive an invitation from Aristotle Dumas, a powerful new man in Genoa City, causing speculation and hesitation from the tycoons and old forces. Dumas is known as a master of takeover tricks, but is secretive about his past and the real relationships behind him, which makes the invitation to his special party a hot topic, not only for Jack and his wife but also for the entire city's elite. Diane, who has experienced many storms and painful calculations, now feels a vague sense of insecurity when she and Jack put on their luxurious suits, heading towards the sparkling villa, where Aristotle Dumas has prepared a party that no one knows how it will end. All the way there, Jack kept his composure on the outside, but inwardly he kept wondering whether this was just a social gathering like usual or a hidden game that Dumas wanted to set up to lure him into a situation where he could not retreat. Diane realized that anxiety through the unconscious handshakes, through the look that Jack gave her that implied a night that could change the situation of all power relationships in Genoa City. When entering the large hall of Dumas, everything exuded luxury, mystery, and charm. Dumas appeared, his demeanor elegant, but his eyes could not hide the usual sinister look. He personally greeted Jack and his wife with a hidden smile, as if every movement in the party had been prearranged, waiting for the right moment to explode. The distinguished guests appeared one by one, but it was clear that all eyes were on Jack, Diane, and Victor Newman, who was all too familiar with the insidious mind games but this time sensed the real danger coming from an unpredictable opponent like Dumas. The party began in a seemingly light atmosphere but quietly piled up dangerous undercurrents. Dumas continuously created situations that forced the key figures to meet each other at unexpected moments, especially Victor, who always kept a cold and emotionless appearance but was actually observing every move of Dumas and Jack. In a rare private moment, Jack was invited by Dumas into a private room at the back of the hall, where only two powerful men faced each other. Here, without the eyes of outsiders, Dumas truly took off his social mask, revealing his ambition to seize power and manipulate financial alliances in Genoa City. Dumas frankly proposed to Jack an alliance, where he would play a key role, not just as a partner but also as a person who would share control of economic projects that could completely put Victor out of power. Jack, who was experienced, was in no hurry to make a decision. He was well aware that any choice would have long-term consequences, affecting his honor, his family, and his own future. In Jack's mind, every piece of the past, the betrayals, the bitter failures mixed with the moments of glory all rushed back. Dumas did not rush to force him, but on the contrary, he gave a clear and provocative ultimatum. Jack could take the opportunity to rise, or continue to be a pawn in Victor's power game. The choice was his. Outside the closed room, Diane was restless. She was worried about Jack but had to maintain a strong, calm image so that no one would detect her insecurity. Diane also noticed that Victor was quietly observing everything. His sharp eyes seemed to penetrate every thought in the room where Jack and Dumas were meeting. In the deeper levels of the party, whispers began to spread. Many people thought that this was a golden opportunity for a new force to emerge, changing the order that Victor had built for so long. Some even guessed that Jack was the one behind the plan to betray Victor, even though Jack himself had not yet decided which side to stand on. Meanwhile, Victor clearly felt the pressure from the shifting relationships around him. He noticed that the handshakes and secret glances exchanged at the party all contained conspiracy and hostility that was becoming more and more obvious. Not only stopping at personal relationships, Victor also discovered unusual signs in the economic projects that the Newman and Jabot groups had cooperated on, especially the shady transactions that Dumas was behind. This made him realize that if he did not act promptly, the empire he had built would become a tasty morsel for others to manipulate. But Victor was not the type of person to back down easily. He quietly ordered his close associates to investigate Dumas and those who were at risk of betraying him, including Jack, who had been his opponent many times but also his ally when their interests intersected. Back to Jack, after hearing Dumas' ultimatum, he returned to the banquet hall with an unreadable expression. Diane keenly realized that Jack had made a decision in his eyes, but she did not rush to ask, but only held his hand tightly as a reminder that no matter what, she would always be by his side. Jack knew that every choice he made at this moment was not only for himself but also for Diane, for his loved ones and the reputation of the Abbott family. Dumas, although still maintaining a calm demeanor, could not hide his challenge and confidence in his final victory. He continued to make sweet offers of cooperation to many other guests, but everyone understood that his trump card was Jack Abbott. The party gradually reached its climax when Dumas made a public speech to all the guests, hinting at a new era in Genoa City, where opportunists and timely alliances would rise to power, while conservatives who stubbornly held on to old power would have to give way to new forces. Dumas's eyes swept over Victor, Jack and other business leaders, creating a suffocating tension. A peacekeeper of the business community, who had long played the role of mediator, now faced an impossible task. How to reconcile the increasingly fierce conflicts of interests between factions. He realized that without a reasonable solution, Genoa City could fall into a long-term underground war, affecting not only the economy but also the traditional values and solidarity that the city has always been proud of. Jack, in the end, was forced to face a decisive choice. If he joins hands with Dumas, he will have the opportunity to overthrow Victor's influence, but at the same time, he will make himself a traitor to the principles and values that the Abbott family holds dear. If he refuses, Jack can keep his honor, but at the same time, he risks becoming the next target in Dumas' ruthless takeover plan. Diane advises Jack to consider everything, not to let anger towards Victor or personal ambition cloud his judgment. She reminds him of what they have been through together, when they thought they had nothing left to lose, but in the end they overcame thanks to trust and honesty. This makes Jack even more tormented, because he knows that his choice will affect not only the present but also the future of the Abbott family and the entire power hierarchy in Genoa City. On the other side, Victor, sensing the tense atmosphere and the looming threat, decided to make his final move. Publicizing the damaging information he had gathered about Dumas, hoping to shake the confidence of potential partners in the new alliance plan. But Dumas, who had anticipated every move, quickly counterattacked by revealing shocking secrets about the Newman Group's shady past dealings, putting Victor at a disadvantage in front of the entire upper class. The party atmosphere immediately reached a climax. The factions began to reveal their intentions. Many people quietly linked up with Dumas, while others considered turning to Victor for their own safety. In that chaotic scene, Jack became the center of attention. All eyes turned to him as if waiting for the final decision that would change the situation. Jack understood that, no matter what choice he made, this war would not end here, but had just begun. He looked up at Diane, realizing that only mutual trust and courage could help them overcome the storm, upholding the traditional values that the Abbott family had built over generations. The plots of revenge, ultimatums, alliances, betrayals, and power would all continue, but Jack knew that only by remaining strong and honest could he lead his family and Genoa City through the storm that awaited them. All of these developments created an unforgettable party night, where all the calculations, hopes, and fears blended into a tense atmosphere that enveloped each character, and when the lights went out, each person would have to face the consequences of the choices they had made on that night of power. The atmosphere at Nicky Newman's party was initially lit up by congratulations, polite laughter, and the presence of the most powerful figures in Genoa City. However, beneath the glitz and glamour, a quiet tension was brewing between the old families, especially between the Newman and Abbott families. As everyone gathered, Victor Newman's eyes never left Kyle Abbott, Jack Abbott's only son, who had attracted the attention of many, including Claire Newman, a girl Victor had never truly accepted as a suitable person for the Newman family, despite her longing for a home and true love. Kyle was not one to be easily subdued, especially when faced with Victor, a man who was all too familiar with manipulating things to his liking. As the party progressed into the night, after the toasts and formal handshakes, a tense battle of wits began to emerge between Kyle and Victor. Victor tried to taunt and challenge Kyle in every way. Each sentence was filled with the implication that Kyle was just an outsider, not worthy of being in the legacy that he had worked so hard to build for the Newman family. Kyle, who was proud of the Abbott family as well as himself, could not hide his anger and determination to fight back. The incident exploded when Victor hinted that the Abbott family was not strong enough to confront the Newmans, and that Kyle's relationship with Claire was just a momentary impulse that would not bring a long-term future. Unable to keep his cool, Kyle loudly responded, attracting the attention of those around him. The argument grew more and more tense, turning the originally bright atmosphere of the party into a suffocating and contradictory one. Claire Newman, who was trying to maintain peace and image for the family, could not hide her disappointment. She felt like she was caught in the crossfire. On one side was her lover standing up to defend her honor, on the other side was her grandfather, who was the spiritual pillar of her family. Claire didn't want Kyle to get hurt, but she couldn't bear the thought of giving up on love just because of Victor's opposition. However, what happened in front of her made Claire feel confused, frustrated, and disappointed. When Kyle looked at her as if he wanted support, Claire could only stay silent, hiding her deep sadness because she realized that their love was facing a more severe challenge than ever. This argument also revealed the cracks in Claire and Kyle's hearts. Claire had always hoped that one day Victor would understand and open up to her love, but Kyle was too realistic and experienced to believe that. To Kyle, Victor was the embodiment of control, domineering, and stubborn. He had warned Claire many times that if she kept trying to gain recognition from Victor, she would only get hurt. Despite Claire's attempts to reconcile, Kyle couldn't hide his exhaustion. He seemed to want the girl he loved to give up hope of a happy ending with Victor so that both could be free to live their true selves, without being bound by old traditions. "I told you so." Kyle's words were like a knife cutting into the fragile hope that Claire was holding on to, making her even more confused between reason and emotion. Claire couldn't answer Kyle right away because deep down, she wasn't ready to let go of her family. Despite her disappointment and pain, Claire still hoped for a miracle to happen, hoping that Victor, no matter how tough he was, would eventually soften before his niece's perseverance and sincere love. This was what caused a distance to gradually appear between Claire and Kyle, a painful silence that no one dared to break. Meanwhile, Victor Newman was not shaken by Kyle's resistance or Claire's disappointment. Nothing is more important to Victor than the Newmans' power, legacy, and status in society. He believes that as long as he is in power, no one, not even Claire or Kyle, can break the rules that have been established for generations. Instead of feeling guilty, Victor is even more determined to take down the Abbotts, especially Kyle, who he believes dares to challenge the Newmans' position right in the middle of a party hosted by his own wife. Not wanting things to stop at a normal argument, Victor secretly plans revenge. He begins to discuss with Audra Charles, an ambitious woman who is not afraid to make bold moves. Audra receives direct instructions from Victor to push forward with plans against the Abbotts, focusing on discrediting and isolating Kyle in the business community. Audra, who had been waiting for her chance to prove herself, quickly deployed dangerous moves, from spreading rumors, digging up personal weaknesses to covert media campaigns to lower Kyle's image. Kyle, after the party, clearly realized the hidden attacks on him. Work at the Abbott Corporation became more difficult, partners began to doubt, and even some close people showed reservations about the rumors that were spreading. This put Kyle in a dilemma. If he continued to protect his love for Claire, he would become a burden to his own family, but if he let go, he would lose the girl he loved the most. Claire was also under no less pressure when she became the center of attention and gossip. Her every action was scrutinized, from the look she gave Kyle to her attitude towards Victor. Although she tried to maintain her stance, Claire increasingly felt lonely and helpless. Those who once supported her began to show doubts, and her friends gradually kept their distance because they did not want to be caught up in the vortex of disputes between the two great families. Despite her heartache, Claire never blamed Kyle, but instead cherished his feelings even more, because only with him did she feel like herself. As the power struggle escalated, Victor continued to increase the pressure on both Kyle and the Abbott family. He directed Audra to speed up the plans, even not hesitating to use the most ruthless tricks to achieve his goals. Abbott's shareholders were continuously shaken, the cooperation project between the two families was stalled, and a series of negative articles appeared, causing Kyle's reputation to plummet. Although Kyle tried to keep his spirits up, he could not help but feel cornered. He used to think he was strong enough to withstand all storms, but this time, Kyle truly felt exhausted and lonely. During the long nights of restlessness, Claire had to face the harsh truth that love is sometimes not enough to fight against the prejudices and power conspiracies that are ingrained in the blood of each family. She is torn between her desire to be true to herself and her duty to uphold the honor of the Newman family. Although Claire has never wanted to give up Kyle, the pressure from Victor and the silent division of those around her make her increasingly skeptical about their future. In that context, the only person trying to maintain peace between the two families is none other than Nikki, a woman who always hopes to be able to connect the people she loves. Nikki secretly meets Claire privately, listens to her feelings and tries to advise and encourage her niece not to lose herself because of the calculations of adults. Nikki also comes to Kyle, reminding him of the core values of love and patience. Although she knows that her advice is unlikely to change Victor's mind, Nikki still hopes that tolerance and belief in true love will triumph over all tricks. In the days after the party, the storm has not yet subsided. Victor continues to tighten his grip on the Abbott household, constantly pushing Audra into positions of power so he can influence major decisions. Kyle and Claire remain quietly together, trying to maintain their love amidst the storm of hatred, betrayal, and prejudice. They understand that only faith in each other can help them overcome challenges, but also acknowledge that the road ahead is long and full of dangers. Although fate has not yet given them a complete ending, Claire and Kyle have never given up hope that one day, when all the calculations, hatred, and power have subsided, love will be the only thing left to guide them back to each other, despite all the hardships they have experienced. In the quiet moments of the late afternoon, when the sunset spread over the high-rise buildings of Genoa City, Lily Winters walked through the long corridors, her mind filled with thoughts about the future, about love and the choices that life was placing before her. After many years of ups and downs and challenges, Lily gradually felt the gentle happiness with Nate Hastings, the man who made her believe in another tomorrow. They had gone through many storms. There were times when it seemed like all the cracks could not be repaired, but thanks to their determination and sincere feelings, Lily and Nate found a common path, moving forward with new faith. On a peaceful moonlit night, Lily gave Nate a silent but profound vow that she would hold his hand, and together overcome all difficulties and temptations, regardless of the fluctuations of life or the pressure from family, work, and public opinion. For Nate, that vow is not only a bond of love but also a motivation for him to firmly face new challenges, especially when Lily decides to embark on an unpredictable journey, an invitation to cooperate with Aristotle Dumas. Aristotle Dumas, the name is causing a stir everywhere Lily goes, from the closed meetings of the executive board to the controversial corridors at the Chancellor Winters Group. Dumas is not only a symbol of power and talent but also a big question mark for all those who want to cooperate with him. The determination to accept Dumas' invitation is not only a risky choice but also Lily's declaration that she will not let anyone decide her future for her. Dumas invites Lily to his magnificent summer house in the south of France, where the landscape is filled with purple lavender, ancient birch trees stretching out in the brilliant golden afternoon sun. Lily understands that this is not just a business trip but also a test of her mettle, courage, and a heart ready to face great changes. At the same time, at another turn of Genoa City, Phyllis Summers is quietly nurturing her own plans, her eyes sparkling with sharpness and never-ending hope. Phyllis has lost too much, has fallen because of betrayed trust, but that does not make her weak. On the contrary, it makes her more determined to pursue her goals. When she hears about the party at Dumas' summer house in France, Phyllis knows she must be there, even if she has to find a way to squeeze into a world that she should not have been invited to. Ambition and courage make Phyllis not hesitate to approach Nick Newman, who used to be her support, her sweet past, and also the person she believes still has some feelings for her. Phyllis makes a challenging proposal, a request mixed with a suggestion. Help her find a way to get an invitation to the party, or at least help her disrupt the event, breaking the fragile balance that Dumas is building. For Phyllis, wherever there is a risk of challenging her position, she will never stand by and watch others decide everything.